Welcome to another video from ExplainingComputers.com. This time it's another of my twice yearly channel updates, and it's a significant update because it's now 5 years exactly since I started posting weekly content here on Explaining Computers. Yes, somehow I've managed to post a video every single Sunday since the 6th of December 2015. I don't know how that's happened, but it has. And talking of milestones, very recently the channel passed 700,000 subscribers, which is just amazing. So thanks greatly to everybody who's subscribed, who remains subscribed, and who watches the channel. We've built an amazing community here on the Explaining Computers YouTube channel. You're all part of it, so thanks very much for that. Now, when I shoot these updates, I try to go and shoot them on location to spice things up a bit, make it more exciting. And indeed, last time I shot in December, the update was shot at a beach in North Wales, as you might remember. That was very exciting indeed. But as I shoot this video, the UK is in its second national lockdown, and so my travel options are restricted. But variety is still the spice of life, and so what I'm going to do right now is to transport myself to a secret mystery location. Greetings and welcome to what will be the new Explaining Computers studio, although as you probably noticed, it isn't quite finished yet. When I spoke to you from that beach in Wales a year ago, I told you about my plans to have a separate location, a new location in which to make Explaining Computers videos, and this is it. I told you about plans to have maybe a fixed set, although I don't think this will be our fixed set. It's not quite right, is it? We could add a logo, but no, I don't think this is exactly what I had in mind. Anyway, the plan was, back last December, to have this place finished by sort of March, April 2020. But of course 2020 hasn't progressed as any of us anticipated, and this project is massively behind where we expected it to be. I grab another camera. I've got my B-cam over here. There we are. Let's just pick up that. And oh, look, it's me looking at you, looking at me, looking at you. And you can see we're in a garage or a garage, depending on what you want to call it. You can see the camera, the mover light there. There's a TV aerial there. There's lots and lots of rubbish from various renovations going on down there. And up in the rafters, up in the roof, there's some quite spectacular arachnid handiwork. There's some amazing cobwebs, spiders' webs in this place. As you can see at the end of the room, there is currently a door. There'll be a wall across there, so there'll be proper 4 walls in this room. And we'll also be adding in here on the walls, there'll be plasterboard, there'll be drywall on there, there'll be a proper floor going in, there'll be a proper ceiling going in, there'll be electrical wiring, mains cabling, network cabling, lots and lots of soundproofing. Right now we're competing with lots of noise from outside, road noise and quite a lot of weather noise today. All that will go, says he, hopefully when the soundproofing has been put in. And down here you'll see there is a door. This is a very, very exciting door. Why is that, you cry? Why is that door so exciting? Well, this door is so exciting because it wasn't here this time last week. This is a brand new door in a brand new hole to let us into the room when the wall has gone in, which will block off what is a door at the moment. So there we are. As you can see, I'm very excited about this new filming space. Oh, I'm tripping over. Look, I'm tripping over metal things. Oops, on the floor, we've got extra added sound effects there. Everything's going on here today. Anyway, I'm excited about this place for 2 reasons. One, because I'm going to be able to separate where I film and where I live, which at the moment I can't really do. I film in my living room, which you saw in my making of video earlier in 2020. I'll be able to actually set things up, leave them here, go away somewhere else, come back to it. That'll be great for the way I work. And also, I remember making films in a garage, in my parents' garage, about 35 years ago, my early animated films using a Super 8 camera. films about robots and spaceships and dinosaurs and all sorts of things like that. Very primitive looking stuff today compared with what we can do with CG animation and all that type of stuff. But I very much cut my filmmaking teeth on those early animated films. And it therefore feels right to be going back to a situation where I'll be making films, earning my living making films in a garage situation. It feels like I'm really returning to my filmmaking roots. Right, having explained where we are in this update video, shall we have some updates? That sounds like a good idea, doesn't it? And I've even made some copious notes to remind me what I'm supposed to be talking about. And the first update takes us back to a video I made in August 2020, which was called Apple Goes ARM. And it was all about Apple's intention to shift from x86 processors to ARM processors in the next generation of its computers. And in the past few weeks, we've actually had the announcement of the first Apple ARM processor, the M1. And the M1 is advertised as a system on a chip, or an SoC, because it contains an 8-core CPU along with a GPU, 8 or 16 gigabytes of RAM, a neural engine or NPU, as well as audio, USB, Thunderbolt and other controllers. Having all of these components integrated onto a single chip, especially having the CPU, the GPU and the RAM on a single chip, is, I think, a fairly radical innovation, with the M1 having a staggering 16 billion transistors and being manufactured with a 5nm nanolithographic process. If you've not checked out the M1, I would encourage you to do so, and I'll give you a link to the pages we've been looking at here in the video description. Now, another thing I want to report back on, another sort of update, is that in the middle of 2020, YouTube introduced mid-roll adverts to pretty much all videos on YouTube beyond 8 minutes in length. We were offered as creators the choice of whether we wanted that to happen or not, and I decided to opt out of mid-roll adverts, and for two reasons. Firstly, as a YouTube viewer, and I watch a lot of YouTube, I really do not like a video being constantly interrupted by someone going, "Do you want to buy some toilet paper?" or "Do you want to build a website?" or whatever it happens to be, and then it goes back to the program. They do not fit in well compared to, say, adverts in traditional TV programs. It just isn't, it doesn't schedule appropriately. And secondly, as a viewer, I hate them, but as an educator, I hate them even more. I make here, most of the time anyway, educational content. And I really don't like the idea of sort of be explaining something and suddenly an advert kicks in. I don't think that's a good idea. So I've opted out of mid-rolls. I hope you appreciate that. It was a big decision for the channel financially, because obviously it's better to have as many adverts as possible. But I've found that the channel is big enough now I can sustain this business, making these videos without mid-roll adverts, and I hope to continue doing that. Final update relates to something I told you about in my last update video, which is a thing on my neck here. I told you at the time that I'd just had a biopsy and it was all clear and it was fine, but the wound wasn't healing. And in fact, the wound continued to not heal. After about 8 weeks, it still wasn't healing at all. And I went back and saw the consultant. And the first thing he said was, he looked at it and he said, "I don't care what your biopsy said, that's cancer," which was a bit of a shock. And he said, "Shall we take a large chunk out of your neck now, or shall we do another biopsy?" And I said, "Let's do another biopsy." And they did another biopsy. They also sewed everything together really, really aggressively that time, and it did start to heal. And fortunately, the second biopsy was also clear. So this issue is now pretty much gone away. It irritates me now and then, but basically this is a fixed issue. And I can now get on to focus on things like my new studio. Right, having updated you on the past, let's move on to the future, and in particular what will be coming up here on Explaining Computers in the weeks and months ahead. Again, I refer to my copious notes. I can see that some videos are already pretty much scheduled in. There will be a new video on Raspberry Pi 4 being used to create an Open Media Vault NAS. You might say, "Chris, didn't you make a video in the past about a Raspberry Pi 4 building an Open Media Vault NAS?" I did, but Open Media Vault has been updated since I made that video. The means of installing it has changed. Lots of people have asked me to do an update. I will do that update. I've got a very exciting retro Mini ITX case to show you fairly soon. I'll leave that hanging. That's going to be a really interesting video. And I want to do a video, many people have asked me to do, about installing Linux on an old computer. A video called something like Linux for an old laptop or an old PC. What are the best, really lightweight distributions to use on older hardware? DaVinci Resolve has just been upgraded. DaVinci Resolve 17 has just come out. DaVinci Resolve is this fantastic free video editor. I want to look at the latest version on the channel of DaVinci Resolve. I want to finish off a video I've been working on for a very long time, which is my Raspberry Pi weather station video. That's going to be a very exciting video if I ever get round to finishing it. I will get round to finishing it. And I also, more broadly in 2021, want to get back to robotics with the Pi and with other computers. I want to build my Raspberry Pi hovercraft, things like that. When this place as a project is completed, I'll have lots more time for that type of robot and related projects. There will of course be more single board computers coming up. Some people don't like them, most of you people here do. They are a mainstay of the channel. There will always be some new single board computer reviews. In particular, I know coming up there'll be the, the Orange Pi 02, there'll be the Raspberry Pi 4 compute module, and there'll be other new single board computers, some of which none of us know about yet, and some of which I do know about, but I can't tell you about yet. I will be making some more what I call explaining XXX videos. In other words, videos about explaining a particular piece of hardware or software category. I recently did explaining SSDs. I've been asked to do explaining hard drives. That sounds like a reasonable idea. And I'm still contemplating how to do a video called explaining CPUs. What bit of a CPU do I explain in a sort of 15-minute video? But that sounds a good video to do. I'm planning a new video called Computers and Our Health. Why you cry? Well, because I made a video many years ago, 10 years ago, about computing and health and safety issues, and it's been used very, very heavily in education all around the world. It's even been used on cruise ships and in prisons. How do I know? Because they've had to ask permission to use it where they haven't had internet available to watch it in cruise ships and in prisons. Anyway, I get every week messages in the comments saying things like, my teacher is forcing me to watch this 10-year-old video. And so at least in the future they'll be able to write, my teacher is forcing me to watch this brand new video. So I'll do a new computing health and safety video. I'm planning a series, I think, I'd like your feedback on this idea, but I've got an idea for a series called Upgrading an Old PC. And so the idea is I'm going to get hold of an older PC, probably a reconditioned business PC. It's been used in a company or something. They often sell them off. And I'll take a machine sort of 6-7 years old and see what the upgrade options are. Take you through different upgrade options over a series of videos. That I think might be quite a nice practical way to look at lots of different types of computer hardware and the sort of upgrade that people might be considering. I will do, as many people have asked me to do, a video on CSS to follow up my video called Introduction to HTML, which sadly not many people watched, but the people who did watch thought was really nice. I will follow up at some point fairly soon with CSS. There will of course also be more Linux distribution videos and other operating system videos as well. I want to get back in 2021 to retro computing. I'm standing in a room full of lots of old stuff. There must be things even here I can make videos about on a retro basis. And it would be great to get back to location reports when the world allows us to do that. Anyway, that hopefully gives you some idea. SETI throwing away the script with, oh, I don't care anymore. Anyway, that gives you some idea of the things that will be coming up on the channel from a new studio in the near future. But for now, it's getting rather cold in this room. I can just about see my breath. Yes, it's definitely getting rather cold in this room. So I'm going to leave this place. But thanks for watching Explaining Computers across the whole of 2020. I hope you have a happy and a healthy 2021. If you've not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel, but you probably have. And I hope to talk to you again very soon.